Shalom Aleichem B'Shem YaHWèH Yeshua HaMashiach B'Shem YaHWèH Ha'av Ve'Haben Ve'Ruach HaKodesh Hallelujah YaHWèH Hashilush HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So, I want to apologize ahead of time for any bad editing I do on this video. I'm going to try my best to actually put the sources that I'm quoting here on the screen so that you know I'm not making this up. What I'm going to go over today is some of the earliest Greek transliterations of the divine name YaHWèH into Greek. And the earliest one goes about a century before the coming of Christ. A Greek historian, not a Jew, a Greek historian, Diodorus Siculus, again, I'm going to try to show that on the screen, Diodorus Siculus, wrote in his book, Bibliotheca Historica, among the Jews, Moses referred his laws to the God who is invoked as YaHWèH. Now, if we're being realistic, this is an older written source than the Talmud. I mean, the Talmud wasn't even collected and put together and penned until about 500 years after Christ. And, but I digress. This gives a little bit of weight. Now, let's look at the name Iota Alpha Omega. This, if you know how to speak Greek, you should see that it's pronounced Ya'o, which should immediately have you should immediately notice the phonetic similarity to the name YaHWèH. Okay, so we're going to move on to our next church father, Irenaeus. Now, what Irenaeus wrote in two different places and against heresies, that a lot of Valentinian Gnostic heretics, they would say the exact same transliteration from the writing of the Biblio Historica, Iota Alpha Omega, and another combo word called Ya'oth. Now, I'm not saying that the Gnostics were right just because they said the name Ya'o. I understand they were heretics. They lied about the God of the Old Testament, and they ascribed a whole bunch of nonsense to him. But I think that this shows that it was common practice among a whole bunch of people, even outside of the Jewish community, to say the name YaHWèH, even though technically Jews at that time were probably seen it as a frowned upon practice and might have even acted violently towards people for saying this name. Now, we're going to move on to what I think has the most authority. This one really puts the nail in it for me. This is Clement of Alexandria. I'm going to show the sources. I have trouble finding the actual text where it speaks this because I'm not that good at reading Greek. But according to most scholars, Clement of Alexandria wrote in his work Stromata. And I want to add, Clement of Alexandria is said by many to be one of the earliest church fathers who started writing outside of the New Testament. One of the earliest church fathers. He goes back to the 2nd century, around 150 Anno Domini. 150 years into the Common Era. So, what Clement of Alexandria wrote the divine name as in Stromata, he said that those who had access of the Holy of Holies would be one of the few people that were allowed to say the name YaHWèH. Actually, it was exclusive to the people that had access to the Holy of Holies that were allowed to say the name YaHWèH. Now, the way that it's spelled in Greek in this is Iota Alpha Omicron Upsilon. Now, Iota Alpha Omicron Upsilon, in some manuscripts, it had the eta at the end of it, which would actually literally pronounce the name YaHWèH, just like it can be said in Hebrew. So let's move on to the next church father who wrote about this, named Origen, and his commentary on the Gospel of John. For whatever reason, he ended up saying the name that showed up in Biblio Historica, Iota Alpha Omega. So the name Iota Alpha Omega, again, the name that sounds a lot like YaHWèH, if you ask me. Origen said that. Now, we're going to move on to Theodoret. And what Theodoret wrote in, I can't remember what work. I'm not sure exactly what this is, because I'm not sure what Greek word quaest is supposed to be abbreviation for. I apologize, but I'm pretty sure somebody out there will be kind enough to clear it up in the comment section, God willing. Theodoret wrote in this work the exact name, Iota Alpha Omega, Ya'o. It shows up again. So there's a lot of sources that say the name Ya'o. All right, let's move on to Epiphanius. He actually quotes a lot of people and he says a lot of variants of the name Yah. Yah's the one I think he was the most correct on, and this is a way later source. We're about in the 500s now. And then this is around the same time that the Vav started being changed into a V sound, so the name began to be said as YaHWèH. Now I know if you look at it, it looks here, iota, alpha, I believe that's a beta, ete. This looks like it says YaHWèH, but trust me, people insist that this was pronounced while speaking Greek as YaHWèH, which is the name that a lot of people go by today. So I just wanted to show you guys that there's a lot of historicity between the names, and I'm going to go over them right now. So we have a lot of sources that have the name transliterated into iota, alpha, omega. Even in the Septuagint, which is older than everything I just mentioned. In the Septuagint, in I think it's scroll 4Q120, in the manuscript 4Q120, in a couple passages of Leviticus, I'm going to try to put it up on the screen, it says the divine name transliterated into iota, alpha, omega. Now, let's look at the name iota, alpha, omega. Seeing that since it's the name that most of these sources translate from YaHWèH, I want you guys to notice something. Iota. In Greek, this is the first letter of the Hebrew name Jesus. So, iota, Jesus. And what did Jesus Christ claim to be in Revelation? Alpha, Omega. Jesus, Alpha, Omega. I hope that this is very enlightening, guys. God bless you all in Jesus' precious name. Amen. In the name of YaHWèH, Yeshua HaMashiach. Amen.